Hello there. Hopefully, everyone enjoyed the preview we got yesterday for the Shadows of the Galaxy set coming out July 12th, 2024, with a confirmed 262 cards, 10 more than the previous set. I myself am very excited, and I am sporting my Dadalorian shirt. Uh, After all that, so hopefully in all the previews coming up, I will be wearing probably more Mando centric shirts than normal. So, um, just wanted to get into what we saw yesterday and possibly put on my tinfoil hat of what's to come, um, and then go from there. So, let's go over what we had confirmed yesterday. Um, we have two new leaders confirmed. We saw the preview for them when Spark of Rebellion came out. We knew they were going to be Mando and Moff Gideon, and those will be the two starter leaders for this set. So they will not be draftable, but they will be the similar to Luke and Vader we saw in the last set. So the Mandalorian reads, when you play an upgrade, you may exhaust this leader. If you do, exhaust an enemy unit with 4 or less remaining health. And then with 6 or more resources, you may deploy him. And then once he is deployed, it would be he's a 4/7. His when you play, instead of it being 4 or less remaining health, he would be at 6 or less remaining health. So again, we've only seen around 15 upgrades in Spark of Rebellion. This is probably going to be a very heavy upgrade set. We also were told yesterday of 3 new mechanics, which I will get into now, which are Bounty, Captured, and Smuggle. Yesterday we weren't told anything about Smuggle. That's still under wraps. Bounty is you can put this upgrade on an enemy unit, and when you do, uh, when they are either captured, which is another new mechanic, or defeated, just taken off the board, killed, then you will receive a reward for it. In the example of Wanted, you can ready to friendly resources, and it's a 0 cost. So again, you're doing a little bit of work with that, but it is a 0 cost. The other thing we got was capture, which is you can capture an enemy. They would go under one of your units. They would leave the field. When they leave the field, all of their upgrades are gone. But when they come back into play, when you basically have to take out the person who is underneath them, they would have their health restored. So, for example, if you were to having, and this doesn't work for leaders, just to be clear, so you can't do it to Mando or Moff Gideon, leader wise. But if you were to have, I don't know, I'd say a certain unit that has a ton of upgrades, they'd be fully restored. But if you had like so many resilience on them, they would lose those. So you're losing upgrades, but you're fully healing them. Um, the next upgrade we got was the Mandalorian's rifle, which is a +3, +0. But again, this is playing into that whole um, captured um, thing I just talked about. Um, so yeah, when he attaches to him, then he captures an exhausted enemy non-leader unit. So how it's going to work is if you have a character who has 4 or less remaining health, you would use the Mandalorian's ability, then you would attach it to this, and then you would capture him. So speaking of upgrades, we are also getting the experiences back. We had that upgrade in the last set, that token upgrade, but the art has changed. So this one is going to show Mando with the Beskar spear that he acquired. And we also got a new version of Shield, which looks to be Death Watch, which they did not go over yesterday at all, but I'm speculating that we will be getting Death Watched in this set to some degree. And it wouldn't be much of Mando without the Razor Crest. So this is going to do Restore 2, which is really good. But then when played, you return an upgrade from your discard pile to your hand. So again, if you wanted to, being that wanted is an upgrade, you would use it, then get it back eventually, and then after you got it back, you would play Razor Crest and basically just do wanted again. You could just keep doing bounties the entire game. So again, we don't know enough of those cards, but we can speculate Razor Crest is pretty good. And you can't have Mando without Grogu. I think Grogu is really good. I think we're at 0-5. I understand he's not going to do any damage, but just being able to sit there and just exhaust the enemy unit every single turn is just going to be annoying. And I think that's going to be incredible. I think it'll be frustrating for your opponent, but it's going to be so much fun for you playing him. And I know yesterday everyone was saying about, we'll just put a Jedi lightsaber on him, make him 3/8. And I totally understand that. I get that. But in my mind, I went a different way and thought, I just want to put so many resilience on him and make him a 0/8 or a 0/11 and have him be out on the field forever, so that you can kill Grogu, but it's going to take you such a long time. And we then also got, on top of that, our first legendary, which is the Mandalorian. And like Obi-Wan, he is a 5/6 Sentinel, but when he's played, you heal all damage on a unit that costs 2 or less, Grogu, and give 2 shield tokens to him. So again, my play already is just putting Resilient on Grogu, putting 2 shields on Grogu. If there's anything on him at all, he's going to get healed. He's going to be on the field forever. Again, without knowing any more of the cards, that's my play of just not even having him attack, just be annoying. I think it'd be amazing. Okay, so then on the other side of that, the dark side of that, we have Moff Gideon. He is a attack with a unit that costs 3 or less. If it is attacking a unit, it gets +1 for this attack. So essentially, it's going to be kind of giving it raid as long as you're attacking another unit, not a base. So where this gets a little more interesting is when you deploy him for 5 resources, he has Overwhelm, and each friendly unit that costs 3 or less gets the +1 and gains Overwhelm while attacking an enemy unit. I like Overwhelm, so him being deployed is way better looking to me personally. But again, I went back and said, okay, what cards could be useful for him in set 1 without knowing too much of set 2? I thought Seasoned Shore Trooper, he would end up being a 3/3, but if for some reason you had to use him late game, he'd be a 5/3 for only 2. That's not horrible, but again, I don't know if you're really going to be using him too much late game like that. Moff Gideon himself actually is an official, so the Emperor's Royal Guard, being a 4/4 then with a Sentinel, assuming again you're hitting a unit, I think that's pretty good. And again, even if you had Palpatine in your actual deck, then it just makes him a 4/5 with a Sentinel. So I think that card, for again just knowing what we know now, so many cards, this card looks promising. And then of course, DJ Super Laser Technician. Again, if you're gonna go for the ramp, making him just a 3/1 and you wanting him to basically become a resource and die anyway, I mean, why not? Worst case, you hit something, you kill it, and you have 1 hit left over. It hits the base for 1 and he dies anyway. So again, I don't think that's a bad play either, but ultimately what you're going to want to use is probably your phase 3 Dark Trooper, new card. This is also a Sentinel, And then when combat damage is dealt to this unit, give an experience token to this unit, assuming he survives. So what you're going to want to do is not hit this guy for little amounts. You're going to want to take him out pretty much entirely. Because the more you just hit him for little pings, the more he's going to come back and smack you, ultimately. Um, or if you put upgrades on him, then he's just going to get more and more deadly as time goes on. The other card we got is, I'm not even going to try and pronounce that word, calculated. You guys should figure out right now. I'm not great at pronouncing words sometimes. But he's basically defeat a non-leader unit that costs 3 or less. For each upgrade that was on that unit, give an experience token to a friendly unit. Basically, everything I just said about Grogu, he is basically anti-Grogu. So if I did do the whole, oh cool, I'm going to make Grogu as 0-11 with 2 resilience on there, he's basically going to kill Grogu and then give a friendly unit 2 experience tokens based on what I just did. And then the last card we got in this set was the Gideon's Light Cruiser, which is a 7/8 with Overwhelm. And then if you control Moff Gideon, play a dark side unit that costs 3 or less from your hand, or discard pile for free. Ultimately, with this one, you're probably going to be bringing back your Dark Trooper Phase 3 in this one. So, and to be honest, people have already made this comparison, but it's very similar to Home 1. This one just has Overwhelm instead of Restore, but basically it's more specifically siloed for Moff Gideon, not so much for the overall Rebels. So I think something that we really need with the set too, again, we're gonna get a lot of upgrades. I think we need a lot more cheap units. I think that's something that we're seeing, and I think that one particular leader that would like that a lot might be this guy. Might be appreciative to just get a whole bunch of other friendly units on the board and just give them raid 1 and let them go loose. Or I don't know, maybe another leader might be that guy. Just saying, maybe give those guys a little support in this set. I understand that Gideon is going to be green and they're red, but just saying they could use a little bit of support. So getting a bunch of cheapy units on the board could be a good thing for all those guys. All right, so next I want to start looking at the art we saw yesterday. I did grab this screenshot from the live broadcast, and this is kind of in the background as a poster. So right there we see Dr. Afra, I want to say it correctly this time, which I talked about in one of my other videos. I'm surprised we are seeing here already, but she appears to be in the set to some degree. I wouldn't be surprised if we see 000 and BT1 as well in some capacity. We see another image of Jabba the Hutt. He could also be in here again. Hopefully it's not Smooth Jabba, as some people are calling him. We also see here 4 Loam, which we could also assume then that Zuckuss and Dengar could also be in this set. We saw Bosk in the last set, so he could be in here again, but I kind of feel like that would be overkill. Doesn't mean we can't see another version of Boba Fett as well, though. Whether it be older Boba Fett from the new Boba Fett, Book of Boba Fett, or young Boba Fett from Clone Wars. We also see here in this image Cad Bane. Again, we could be seeing Cad Bane here from Clone Wars, or we could be seeing him even from Bad Batch. I personally would love to see Toto in here to some degree. I think it'd be really cool as like maybe an upgrade for him of some sort, having Toto. And then finally in the background we see, I'm going to assume this is just Maul, not Darth Maul. I'm going to also assume it's Crimson Dawn Maul. So that's kind of like in between the period, because one thing I forgot to say in the beginning of this video was the first set was very much in a specific time period, which was a couple years before the original trilogy and then pretty much directly after the original trilogy with Battlefront 2. This one is just going to be Mandos and Underworld and Smugglers. So it could be anything, um, which again makes me believe that we could be seeing other characters from the prequels. We could be seeing the other thing I kind of thought of off the top of my head was what's his name? Valant, I believe his name is. He's the guy with like the metal face in the comics. I haven't read those comics, but I know he exists. So again, if we are bringing in comic book characters, there's a ton we can go with on that. And then here is just a few additional pieces of artwork we also got from the stream. Again, I pulled them right from there. Another look at Cad Bane, probably the artwork I'm going to get for his unit card. This would be the armor, which again makes sense because we're getting a lot more Mandalorians. Having her in there makes sense. What is it? Fennec Shand. I don't remember her name, but yeah, I remember she was in the first season of Mando. Having her in there makes again sense. She's also been in the Bad Batch, so yeah, not surprised to see her. Then we're gonna get some of the solo stuff, which is what Enifit's Nest, I believe her name was. We saw her on top of the train, and we also saw a young Lando. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw all of those characters from Solo in this. Um, Tobias Beckett, Kira. I don't remember the. I'm trying to think of like a character's name I'm thinking of, but even like a variant of Chewbacca with like the goggles he had on the train scene, and even a young Han Solo. I could see those characters all being in here. Oh, Dryden Voss, I think his name was the main, I guess, villain in that movie. I could see all those characters being in this set because they all fit. And then the last piece they gave us was the Gavorian Death Gang, I think it was. It's the gang that was after Han Solo in Episode 7. I remember that with the Ryloth. So, again, just showing that they are going to support the sequel trilogy. So, I wouldn't be surprised if some of those gangs aren't in this set as well. So, I have two more very, very tinfoil theories that I want to throw out there really quick. Just again, what I believe is happening. If you read the article, they say on there what the numbers are for these leaders. Moff Gideon is number 7. The Mandalorian is number 18. We had 18 here, leaders in the last set. I fully believe we're getting 18 in this set. Again, no proof whatsoever of this. It's just the way the numbering is going and the way that the colors last time, because the colors last time were for leaders blue, green, red, yellow. So if they're doing the same leaders in the same order with the colors, Gideon being 7 makes sense. And Mandalorian being 18, he's the last of the yellow, the last leader in the whole set, also makes sense. Again, nothing backing this up. They could be tricking us and saying, okay, we're going to put the showcases up towards the front, so maybe it's going to be only like 9 leaders this time. But I really think we're going to get 18 in this set as well. That is my first very out there theory. My other crackpot theory that I'm very much sticking to, and until I get this set in my hands, I'm going to say this a lot to like everyone, and I'm going to apologize now, is that I totally believe we are getting Dash Rendar and the Outrider in this set. There is no doubt in my mind. And if you're saying, okay, wait, why would that happen? I understand that the text, because I'm actually showing a picture here from the game back in the day in the late 90s. Obviously, the font is not going to be the same, but being they're calling this set Shadows of the Galaxy, and that it was called Shadows of the Empire, and it's all, they've been very specific that there are going to be smugglers in it, and Dash is a smuggler. I totally believe that he will be in this set. I have zero proof of that. I'm just going to say, I told you so if it happens, and if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. So I very much believe that he's in there. He was in X-Wing, and I didn't actually notice until the other day. He was re-released on in X-Wing, part of the 2.5 release. So even though he's sort of canon because in the newer the Star Wars games, in the was it Jedi Survivor? Technically, you can have Cal Kestis put on like Dash Rendar's coat. So it seems like Disney's like sprinkling him in there when they really want to. I fully believe he's going to be in this card game in this set. If he's not in this set, I don't know when he's going to be. He probably won't be in it at all, honestly. So that is my crackpot theory. Take it as you will. I have no idea how long this video went, but thank you for sticking around and watching it. Please hit the like and subscribe button. I will be doing more videos on the previews coming up. This was a pretty big one. I'll probably be doing shorter previews as the shorter material comes out. But thank you for watching, and as always, may the Force be with you.